Let's speak now to Jodie Ginsberg. She's the president of the Committee to Protect Journalists. She joins us now live from New York. Thank you for your time. Your reaction to this news that's coming through to us in the last hour or so that Israeli forces, during the process of raiding al-Shifa hospital, have severely beaten Al Jazeera journalist Ismail al-Ghoul.
Well, first, let me say that we condemn unequivocally this assault and arrest of Ismail al-Ghoul and the detention of his colleagues. Journalists play an essential role in a war. They are the eyes and the ears that we need to document what's happening. And with every journalist killed, with every journalist arrested, our ability to understand what's happening in Gaza diminishes significantly.
I mean, you heard there our colleague Patty Culhane in Washington saying that America still has the narrative that there is no evidence that journalists have been targeted by Israelis or the Israeli army in Gaza. I mean, what more evidence really is needed?
Well, it's not credible. I mean, we've had a number of instances where we know journalists have been targeted. We've had several reports, for example, into the killing of Reuters reporter Issam Abdallah. We know because the Israelis said so that Hamza Dakhdour and Mustafa Taraya, who were killed in their car as they were traveling, were targeted by Israel. Israel claimed that they were terrorists. We've still seen absolutely no credible evidence. This is the worst conflict for journalists that the Committee to Protect Journalists has ever documented, and the situation is simply getting worse.
I mean, in this case, what we're hearing is that Israeli forces destroyed a number of broadcasting vehicles of the press crews that were at al-Shifa hospital. You can't get more blatant than that, can you?
It looks like a deliberate attempt to prevent the assault on the hospital being documented. There is a history of Israel targeting media facilities, for example. In previous conflicts, we've seen that, and attacking media facilities is not acceptable. Attacking journalists, preventing journalists from reporting is not acceptable, and certainly the deliberate targeting of journalists and the destruction of their communications equipment is a criminal act.
And Jodie, I know you're in a rush to go, but I just want to squeeze in one more question. We heard there from Mansour Shuman. He was on the show in the studio. He's just returned. He's just entered Doha from Gaza, and he basically mentioned you, the Committee to Protect Journalists, and said more needs to be done by international bodies like yourself to prevent these kinds of things from happening. What do you say to that?
I hear that, and we have been doing everything in our power to raise these issues at the highest levels. We have been systematically documenting these attacks so that we have the evidence that we need to present to future investigative bodies. For example, we bring this consistently to the highest levels of government. Unfortunately, the way that we're seeing this war unfold is that international organizations like the Committee to Protect Journalists and others do not seem to be being listened to by governments like the United States, who have the power to bring this to a stop, to bring this to an end. So we continue to raise our voices consistently and loudly to encourage international bodies, international governments to use the evidence that we are bringing to them to help bring this to an end.
OK, thank you for your time. Jodie Ginsberg, President of the Committee to Protect Journalists.
Thank you.